I love it. And I mean, Kate, you talked about trends, right? Pros, you mentioned that we got to put the A in the analysis back in there. Then I love your point that data is a competitive advantage, right? Like those are all like really crystal clear use cases to help finance professionals. I think the only thing I would add is then it kind of highlights what you said, right? It's a crawl, walk, run approach, right? So many times, right? Like, I work with CFOs, and I was sitting with a CFO group about 2 months ago, and we were in a room. It was after happy hour, and they really enjoyed my presentation and how I was talking about GPT-4 and a lot of the tools and how they can be applied. And we actually got to get into some details. And they were all at this table working on their computers, and they were sitting there doing stuff. And they were like, "Hey, man, we really loved your session. Would you be able to sit down with us and just kind of work through some stuff? Like we're not even at that phase where we're like crawling yet. We're still in like diapers, like not even at that point." And I said, "Okay, you want to have a framework to help guide you." I was like, I'll sit with you right now, and I'll give you a 30-day plan that you can use 15 minutes a day, and it be guided with an exercise, a use case, and application, and you'll have a 30-day plan. Would that be advantageous for you? They'd be like, "Oh my God, like I would take that and be able to use it." And all I went into it, I was like, "Hey, you are a CFO, you're trying to learn more about GPT-4 and how to leverage. Write me a 30-day, 15-minute plan that has a description, a use case, an application that I can use every day. Make it easy for a beginner person to understand, and make this easy that I could export it to Excel," right? I literally typed that in there. We customized it a little bit, and then I copied it. I copied it in an Excel document. I was like, "Hey, get everybody's email and send that off." And they were sitting there and they were like, "How'd you do that?" I said, "The first thing you got to think about when you're leveraging these tools is you got to think in that, like, ask it what you want. Don't just ask it, give me a 30-day plan. Be as prescriptive and like the way that you model, the way that we do a financial model, the same rigor that finance people take when we're listening to the business talk about revenue, talk about expenses, talk about cash, and we're able to translate that to a model. Okay, I know if you're talking about revenue and you're talking about something closing in Q2 based on our revenue recognition, we're going to, we can think in that place. We got to take that same quantifiable mindset and linear processing that we do from a calculation perspective, and start thinking about that from a qualitative perspective, right? So it's challenging us to still take core frameworks, methodologies, and mindsets that we have, but leveraging it from a qualitative, from a language perspective. That's a superpower, right? So to all those finance, FP&A, accounting, and data professionals, literally use that prompt. And now you got a 30-day plan that can get you maybe to crawl, right? I think another great use case is definitely in tactical operations. So, not throwing shade at my accounting partners, but this is poised for generative AI, right? Like when you think about all the policies and procedures that go into just a simple area like accounts payable, right? How you pay bills, how you process bills, how do you communicate with customers, how do you communicate to get paid? All this information, there's a lot of people that are just focused on that level of work, right? When you can say, all right, how can I write me a AP policy because I'm having cash burn issues, and write me an email communication with cadences that if they're 5 days late, I need to send this. If they're 10 days late, I need to do this. So in the tactical operations side for finance organizations, it is a poised ground frame. It's a blue ocean to go find, to what Pros mentioned, some of those use cases, those quick wins, that like Ben that you said as well too, those quick wins to build that momentum, get that train off the track.